Let's go deeper, because if pain is the doorway, then your mind is the gatekeeper. Most people don't realize this, but your mind is not just some passive observer of life. It's not just a place where thoughts happen. Your mind is a battlefield. And whether you know it or not, you are in a war every single day. A war between your higher self and the voice that tells you to stay small. Between the vision of who you could become and the fear of who you've been. And the scariest part, most people lose that war without even knowing they're in one. Because thoughts don't shout. They whisper. They sneak in. They disguise themselves as logic, as caution, as being realistic. You've felt it before. I'm not good enough. What's the point? People like me don't do things like that. Those aren't just innocent thoughts. Those are weapons. Weapons your subconscious has been using to keep you safe. But in doing so, it's kept you stuck. Because the truth is, your brain doesn't care about success. It doesn't care about greatness. It only cares about survival, safety, familiarity. And if you don't step in, if you don't consciously take control of the narrative, your brain will pull you back into the known every time. That's the default setting. But here's where things change. When you finally understand that your mind is programmable, that your thoughts are not facts, they're patterns, and patterns can be broken. Now, that doesn't mean it's easy. Your mind is years, decades of conditioning. You've got beliefs running your life that were installed when you were 6 years old, installed by pain, by parents, by teachers who didn't believe in you, by a society that told you to play it safe. And if you don't rewire that system, you'll keep living out the same script, just with different scenery. So how do you win the war? First, you've got to get honest. Start noticing what you tell yourself when no one's watching. What's the first thought that hits you in the morning? Is it power or pressure, clarity or confusion, progress or paralysis? Second, you've got to challenge those thoughts, question them, interrogate them. Don't just accept every thought that comes into your head as truth. Ask yourself, is this empowering me or draining me? Because if your mind isn't working for you, then by default, it's working against you. And third, you need to recondition your mind daily, not once. Not when life falls apart every single day. Just like you train a muscle, you train your focus, you train your standards, you train yourself, talk until power becomes your default, not fear. This is not motivation. This is mechanics. It's how the human mind works. You're either mastering it or being mastered by it. Because make no mistake, if you let your thoughts run unchecked, they'll quietly bury your potential one fear at a time. And no one will notice, not right away. But 10 years from now, you'll look back and realize you never lived the life you were capable of not. Because you weren't good enough, but because you never took control of the one thing that runs everything, your mind. So let me leave you with this. The most powerful prison is the one you don't even know you're in. But the moment you wake up, the moment you take the wheel, that's the moment everything begins to shift. Because when you master your mind, you don't just change your thoughts, you change your entire life. Everyone wants the transformation. Everyone wants to become that next level version of themselves, the leader, the creator, the unstoppable force. But here's the part no one tells you: the person you're becoming isn't built in the spotlight. They're not forged in front of the crowd or under the praise of others. That version of you is born in the dark. It's in the late nights when no one's watching. It's in the quiet mornings where doubt creeps in. It's in the moments you feel invisible, overlooked, or forgotten, but you keep going anyway. That's where the real growth happens. Because growth doesn't care about applause. It cares about consistency. It cares about who you are when no one's clapping, when no one's validating you, when it feels like you're doing the right thing and still not seeing results. And yet you choose to stay disciplined. You choose to keep building. That's where character is formed. You see, we live in a world obsessed with speed and visibility. Everyone wants to go breakthrough now. Everyone real transformation. Deep, unshakable transformation is slow. It's invisible. It's uncomfortable. And most importantly, it's internal before it's ever external. It's not about changing what people see. It's about changing how you see yourself. That's what the darkness is for. It strips you of the false identities, the surface level goals, the ego-driven ambitions. It forces you to confront what actually matters: your values, your beliefs, your vision, your resilience. Because when everything outside of you goes quiet, what's left is truth. And if you can find your power in that place, if you can build discipline in the silence, if you can keep showing up when nothing around you is giving you permission to, that's when you become dangerous. Because now your confidence isn't based on outcomes. It's not based on likes or money or attention. It's based on who you've become in the process. And let's be real, some of the most defining seasons of your life will feel like nothing is happening. But something is happening, something massive. Your roots are growing deeper. Your identity is being reshaped. Your emotional stamina is being tested and built. It's like the seed underground. You don't see anything above the surface for weeks, maybe months. But that doesn't mean growth isn't happening. It means the foundation is being laid. And the stronger the roots, the taller the tree. So if you're in that place right now where you feel like you're in the dark, like your efforts aren't being seen, like the world is quiet and you're wondering, is this even working? Don't panic, don't stop, and don't rush the process. Because what's being built inside you right now can't be shaken later. It's not performative, it's not conditional, it's real. And one day when the world finally sees you rise, what they won't see are the nights you wrestled with doubt, the moments you cried and kept going, the choices you made to stay committed when giving up would have been easier. But you'll know exactly who built that life. And more importantly, how? So remember this, you don't become great in the light. You become great in the dark when no one's watching, but you still refuse to quit. Let's call it out directly. Because this is the part that most people never admit to themselves. You're addicted to your excuses. And no, I don't mean you're lazy. I don't mean you don't care. I mean your brain, your wiring, has grown so used to the comfort of justification that it actually craves it. Think about it. Excuses feel safe. They feel reasonable. They sound like protection. I'm too tired. I've got too much going on right now. I'll start after this busy season. I just don't feel motivated today. And the dangerous part is every single one of those statements feels true. Your brain delivers it with logic dressed in a tone of maturity and self-compassion. But here's the truth, your excuses are not wisdom. They're not self-care. They're a drug, a subtle, invisible drug that numbs your potential and keeps you chained to the same identity you swore you were done with. Every time you make an excuse, it reinforces a neural pathway, telling your brain, this is how we survive discomfort. Over time, that pathway becomes a highway, it becomes the default setting. And without even realizing it, you start avoiding growth, not because it's impossible, but because making excuses feels easier than facing your fear of failure. But let's get real, you're not tired. You're unaligned. You're not too busy. You're avoiding what matters. You're not lacking motivation. You're avoiding accountability. And if that stings good, that means something inside of you is waking up. Because deep down, you know this isn't who you're meant to be. You weren't built for mediocrity. You weren't wired for avoidance. You were created with power, with hunger, with a fire in your gut that doesn't need permission. It needs activation. And that activation doesn't come from waiting until you feel like it. It comes from doing it anyway. It comes from action without a mood, discipline over desire. You don't overcome excuses with inspiration, you overcome them with decision. Decision is what breaks addiction. Decision is what says, I'm done telling myself that story. I'm done playing the victim. I'm done being owned by my comfort zone. The moment you stop negotiating with your excuses is the moment your life begins to transform. And let me be clear, it's not about being perfect. It's not about never having a weak moment. It's about building identity that no longer accepts weakness as a lifestyle. That no longer treats procrastination like a personality trait. That doesn't romanticize avoidance and call it waiting for the right time. Because guess what? There is no right time. There is only now. And every later, you choose as a silent agreement to stay exactly where you are. So here's the real question. How long are you going to keep letting your excuses run your life? How long will you keep building a case for why you can't, instead of finding the one reason you must? You have greatness in you, but it's buried under layers of stories you've repeated for years. And the only way to rise is to destroy those stories one action at a time. So let me leave you with this. Your excuses will comfort you today, but they will bury you tomorrow. Choose progress over pity. Choose commitment over comfort. Because once you break free from the addiction of your excuses, there's nothing left to stop you. Let's talk about something that silently shapes your entire life, whether you're aware of it or not. Clarity. Clarity is power. But most people, they live in a fog, not because they're incapable, not because they're weak, but because they've never been taught how dangerous it is to live without a clear direction. They wake up, go through the motions, chase random goals they never truly chose for themselves. And years go by, decades even, before they realize they were moving fast but in the wrong direction. You see, without clarity, effort becomes exhaustion. Without clarity, passion turns into pressure. Without clarity, your potential, no matter how big, stays locked inside confusion. And I want you to really feel this. Most people don't fail because they lack discipline. They fail because they lack a compelling vision. They don't know who they want to become. They've never taken the time to ask, what does my future look like if I stop living on autopilot? That's the core of it. You can't hit a target you haven't defined. You can't pursue a life you haven't imagined. You can't live with power if you don't know what you're building toward. And don't confuse clarity with vague goals like, I want to be successful, or I want to be happy. That's not clarity, that's wishful thinking. Real clarity is specific, it's measurable, it's embodied. It lives in your language, your habits, your decisions. It's not just a vision board, it's a standard you hold yourself to every day, whether you feel like it or not. So the question becomes, what do you really want? Not what your parents told you to want. Not what society pressured you to chase. Not what's safe or easy or acceptable. What do you want? Because the moment you get honest about that, painfully, unapologetically honest, your life begins to change. The fog lifts. You stop saying yes to things that don't align. You stop wasting energy on battles that don't belong to you. You stop tolerating environments that drain you. Clarity gives you permission to say no and power to say yes. And here's the deeper truth. Most won't tell you clarity requires courage. Because when you truly see what you want, when you visualize it, write it down, feel it in your body, it becomes real. And when it's real, now you're accountable. Now you're responsible. And that scares people. Because once you're clear, You can no longer hide behind, I don't know what to do. But that's also where your freedom lies. Clarity doesn't just show you the path, it gives you the fuel to walk it. Because when your vision becomes this obsession, your excuses start to die. You stop needing external motivation because you've tasted the life that's possible and you refuse to settle for less. And don't be afraid if your clarity evolves, that's human. You're allowed to pivot, to grow, upgrade your vision as you level up. But never confuse evolution with indecision. One comes from growth, the other comes from fear. So if you feel stuck right now, lost, overwhelmed by options, or unsure about the next step, don't run harder, get clearer, sit with yourself, go to war with distraction, get brutally honest. Because once you know who you want to be, once you define what you're here to create, every step becomes intentional. Every action becomes sacred. Every day becomes an opportunity, not just to exist, but to align. And alignment, that's where peace lives. That's where power lives. That's where your true life begins. So here's your reflection. When you lack clarity, confusion becomes your identity. But when you become clear, truly clear, your life stops happening to you and starts happening because of you. Let's strip away the noise for a second, because when it comes down to real, lasting transformation, there's one truth you need to accept: the future is already yours, but only if you decide today. See, people spend years waiting for the right time, waiting to feel ready, waiting for permission, for certainty, for signs from the universe. But life doesn't reward waiting. It rewards decision. Most people think change takes time. And yes, building it, living it, earning it takes effort. But the moment that starts the real beginning is a single decision, one deep internal moment where you finally say, no more playing small, no more tolerating what doesn't serve you, no more lying to yourself about your own power. That moment, that decision, is where your future begins. Because here's what most people don't realize: indecision is a decision. Avoiding commitment is a form of commitment to staying the same. Every day you delay that shift, you're making a quiet agreement to keep repeating yesterday. Not because you want to, but because it's familiar. And let's be honest, familiarity is seductive. It's cozy, predictable. It gives you the illusion of safety while silently stealing your potential. But what's comfortable now will cost you later. Because time doesn't pause while you hesitate. It doesn't slow down while you stall. It keeps moving with or without your participation. So what are you waiting for? There is no perfect day, no magical feeling, no golden opportunity that suddenly appears and makes everything easier. That's not how change works. Change starts with ownership, owning your patterns, your mindset, your results. Owning the fact that no one's coming to save you. And that's actually a gift, because it means the power has always been yours. Once you take ownership, you begin to realize the life you dream of. It's not far away. It's already available. The doors are already open, but the price of walking through them is sacrifice. The sacrifice of your old identity, the death of who you used to be, the courage to let go of your current level and reach for something higher. Even when there's no guarantee, even when the voice of doubt is screaming in your head. Because here's the paradox: you don't become powerful and then decide. You decide, and that's what makes you powerful. You don't wait until you're fearless. You decide despite the fear. You don't wait until you have it all figured out. You decide and figure it out as you go. You don't wait until you're validated. You become your own validation. That's the difference between those who change their lives and those who don't. Not intelligence, not background, not luck. It's the ability to make a decision and back it up with relentless action. So ask yourself, are you still waiting for change to happen to you, or are you ready to make it happen because of you? Because the truth is, your future already exists. The version of you that's confident, focused, fulfilled. It's not a fantasy. It's a real possibility. But only if you're willing to burn the bridge to your old life and say, I'm done hesitating, I'm all in. Don't confuse possibility with inevitability. Nothing changes until you decide. And the moment you do, that's the moment everything changes forever.